WVFP.
We were talking to our last guest about artists and writing and painters and writing, and I'm curious about you and your relationship to writing, and if you write about your work or...
I write a lot, yeah, and I love writing by other artists.
You do the blurbs and you do your own stuff?
Well, yeah, I wrote the press release for King's Leap with Alec. I mean, yeah, I don't know who the fuck would be writing for me at this point. But
I'll do it. I could be.
You're not hired. I think.
You're not booked here today,
but yeah, I really love writing by other artists. I love Carol Dunham's writing. I love Peter Halley's writing. He has a great book. Amy Sillman is an incredible writer.
Yes.
Love Ad Reinhardt is a really great writer. There's so many great writers in history, like Uta Kother. She's an incredible writer. I really love all their writing. In fact, I think that's some of my favorite writing about art is writing about art by other artists, because I feel like there's a different connection to material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I understand that.
What makes somebody like Amy Sillman such a great writer?
That's a really good question. The way she... I'm trying to think of a specific essay. I guess I can think of the like Abex and Disco Balls essay, because I've read that a bajillion times and I can remember it really well. I don't know. She does a really good job at breaking things down, like physically, like as a painter. And I don't know. I guess she writes from a painter's perspective. I think painters have a different perspective than critics and historians. Like,
is it the connection?
I'm not answering this very well.
No,
you're doing a great job.
Is it the connection to the materiality?
I think it's that. I think it's also the connection to other painters. So you're able to like really reference, like she and Carol Dunham are able to really reference specific references in terms of like being like, I knew this painter. I knew that they were dealing with this specifically, both materially and conceptually, because I talked to them about it. And like, I don't know. I think there's a way that like artists talk about other artists where like I feel like if I say Amy Sillman, it triggers an image of what that kind of
you kind of like the inside ball talk of it.
Yeah, it's able.
Do you feel like it's written for other artists, or do you feel like it's written for a wider, like...
I think it's written for other artists, and in that way it probably isn't very generous to a non-artist reader, but I do think like in terms of writing for other artists, it is like some of the best.
Do you think there's like a balance that can be struck there, where there's like writing that can be from artists for artists, but also can kind of like bring in a wider audience on the...
I think the Stephen Shore book that just came out, his like diary and like him talking about his history of photography and like him being like, this is a photograph I took, this is what happened when I took it, and blah, blah, blah. I think that's a book that really bridges that gap. Mm-hmm. That's for non-artists and artists alike.
Stephen Shore.
Yeah, that was a really good book.
That's great.
People love the biography. I know I do. Like, what were you doing the day the show came out? You know, a lot of people like the biography juxtaposition, even when it doesn't complement the show. They want to know. That's kind of what this show's about, Liv. It's about who the artist is.
Oh, okay.
Not, you know, it is about it. You know, was about your work. You know, but we're trying to feature New York City personalities, just kind of where they stand. You know what I mean?
Can you talk a little bit about your studio practice, or would you like to talk about that?
Is it here in the city, the studio?
No, it's in Ridgewood.
Okay, I used to live there.
I go after work most days. I work for Ugo Rondinone, and I go on the weekends and stuff. Yeah, my studio practice, I feel like, started when I was in college, obviously. For me, it was a really big question. I think I was very interested in materiality. I started as a photographer, actually.